UConn, the number 7 team in the country, takes down the reigning national champs, South Carolina. The final score of the game was 87-58. What a complete force of dominance. Wow, wow, wow. Guys, watching this game, I just couldn't believe it. Like, as the game was happening, I was like, I can't believe this is actually happening. Wow. Is UConn really going to take down South Carolina? Not only take down South Carolina, but beat South Carolina by 29 points at home. Wild, wild, wild times in the world of women's basketball. But here's the deal. The difference in this game was several factors. Number one, UConn actually came to play, and South Carolina didn't. South Carolina did not look prepared for this game. They didn't. They did not look prepared at all. At all. What we saw was a very, very serious and focused UConn team. We saw a team that is embarrassed by their loss against Tennessee. We saw a team that was like, this was very, that was like, hey, what we did against Tennessee a couple games ago was unacceptable. We can't do that again. We have to be focused from the get-go. And what was UConn doing? They were focused. They were getting to their spots. They was making stuff happen. They were playing great defense. And what was South Carolina doing? They were running around. They were just kind of like, let me try to knock down a shot. Okay. Oh, I missed. Oh, darn. Let me try to get back on defense. Let me try to do this. Let me try to do, like, it was lackadaisical, guys. It was lackadaisical from the get-go from South Carolina. From the get-go. The starters for South Carolina wasn't doing much of anything. They weren't at all. What they were doing, they were missing a lot of three-point shots, right? They were missing some mid-range jumpers. They were settling, and they were getting flustered. When UConn, in that first half, was playing defense, what were they doing? They were packing the paint. Because South Carolina couldn't hit anything, and they knew they couldn't. So, what was UConn doing? UConn was forcing South Carolina's guards to shoot. Everybody but Tahina could shoot as many shots as they wanted. Because why would you play defense on someone you know you can't, who you know cannot shoot threes? Why would you do that? Why? You are going to pack the paint. And what we saw was in that first half, the only player, in my opinion, that was playing worth something for South Carolina is Joyce Edwards. Joyce Edwards, in my opinion, I have said this before, I'm going to say it again. Joyce Edwards is the best player by far for South Carolina. She's the best player. She is the most proven player this year, a freshman. And as a post player, she needs somebody to give her the basketball, right? She needs somebody to get her the basketball. And in that first half, because Joyce Edwards was the main focus, what was UConn doing? They were kind of packing the paint a little bit. They were giving Joyce Edwards several looks, and yes, they were fouling her at times. And they were doing whatever they could to, like, when Chloe Kitts had the basketball and she was trying, it was clear as day. It was clear as day that she was trying to pass it inside to Joyce Edwards, but she couldn't because of the help defense that UConn was playing. And the reason why UConn could stay in the paint in that first half, the reason why is because they knew South Carolina wasn't going to shoot no shots. They knew. And what happened? South Carolina looked discombobulated. Because they weren't able to play that inside-outside basketball, they didn't know what to do. They didn't. They looked discombobulated, which led to turnover after turnover after turnover. And then when UConn got the basketball, they were in transition. Make stuff happen. Azzi Fudd knocking down 3 after 3 after 3 after 3, right? It wasn't just her. It was Jenna L. Alfie showing aggression in that first half. In the second half, I don't think she scored in the second half. But in that first half, Jenna L. Alfie was making stuff happen. She was being aggressive. She was crashing the boards. She was scoring buckets. 8 points, 6 rebounds for Jenna L. Alfie. She did her thing in this game, especially in that first half. Sarah Strong was fantastic. Absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. 16 points, 13 rebounds. 4 assists for her. She had a really good first half, a good second half. Overall, fantastic play by her. And for South Carolina, they didn't have an answer. They didn't. Because it wasn't just Janet L. Alfie playing well. It wasn't just Sarah Strong playing well. It wasn't just Kaylin Chen playing some really good basketball. I thought Kaylin Chen had a great game. A absolutely fantastic game. 10 points. for Caitlin Chen. She did her thing, but it wasn't just her. It wasn't just her. We saw Ashton Shade come off the bench and knock down 3 big 3-pointers in that first half. That's all she scores in the game, right? She doesn't hit any other shot besides those 3 big threes. But she got those in that first half, continuing to build up the momentum for UConn, right? But it wasn't just her. It was Azzi freaking Fudd dropping 28 points. 6 of 10 from the 3-point line. Goes 50% overall from the field. 28 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists for Azzi. Azzi is a player who has dealt with knee injuries since her high school days, right? She's been dealing with this stuff for a long time, but she feels really good right now. She's been seeing a sports psychologist, and hey, when you get your mind right, you get your body right, and everything flows into place. We saw a fantastic game for her. Wednesday when she played against St. John's, right? UConn dominated against St. John's, but in that game, we saw Azzi Fudd drop 34 points, and it was a question mark about, is this a anomaly? Is this an anomaly? Is the only reason why Azzi Fudd dropping 8 threes was because she played against a weak team like St. John's? Like, was that the only reason? Is Azzi Fudd really, really back, or was that just an anomaly? It wasn't an anomaly, guys. It wasn't. Azzi Fudd today against the reigning champs, guys. She drops 28 points. She has a massive third quarter, and Azzi Fudd puts the team on her back and gets the job done. You gotta love to see it, man. You got to love to see it. And Paige Bueckers. I thought Paige Bueckers had a fantastic game. Paige Bueckers couldn't hit a shot to save her life. She couldn't. She couldn't hit a shot to save her life. That girl struggled so bad. 3 of 12 from the field. Like, she was terrible, shooting-wise. But everything else, Paige Bueckers was fantastic. Fantastic. 10 assists. Would have been way more if her teammates would have made more shots on the first attempt, right? 12 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, almost had a triple-double for her. This is a complete UConn team. And the difference is they're healthy. This is a healthy team. And when they are healthy and when they are clicking on all cylinders, you better watch out. You better watch out. And guys, it was fun. It was fun to watch. It was very, very, very fun to watch for UConn. Again, they came out ready to play. They came out focused. And they got to their spots. And they knew exactly what they were trying to do on offense. They knew exactly what they were trying to do. And it worked. In that first half, it was a lot about getting stuff happening in the paint. That's what it was about. It was getting stuff to happen in the paint and then using that success that you had in the paint to spread out for threes and all that stuff later in the game. This is a really good UConn. And yes, this is the same UConn team that got by Tennessee. The same UConn team that got by Southern Cal, right? The same UConn that got to Notre Dame. Same team. But what matters is how you start to play as we head into March. And UConn, they're looking very good. They're looking very, very, very good. Now, that was UConn. Now going over to South Carolina. South Carolina played an atrocious game. Atrocious game. One of the worst games I've seen by South Carolina. Now, we all know that South Carolina is a better team than us. We all know that. But as I believe Don Staley said in the mid-game interview, she was basically like, all our negatives are showing up all in one game. All the things we do wrong, our lackadaisicalness, like our inability to actually play a second, third, fourth option offense, right? If the first option didn't work, they were screwed. South Carolina was screwed. They didn't have a second, third, fourth, fifth option they were going to. It was, if the paint ain't working, we don't know what to do. We don't know. Okay, let's just jack up some 3-pointers. Let's just jack up some shots. Let's try to make some stuff happen. Didn't work in this game. And it wasn't just the bad shot selection. It was the terrible defense all game. You would have thought it would have got better in the second half. It didn't. It didn't get better. Didn't get better at all. Not only was it bad offense, not only was it bad defense, it was terrible rebounding. Terrible. Atrocious. 48 rebounds for UConn, 29 for South Carolina. 48-29. Wild. You have only 6 offensive rebounds for South Carolina in the entire game. That's not normal. That is not normal at all. It's Mo, you're absolutely right. UConn did their homework and they showed up and showed out in this game. They absolutely did. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Eddie, for the super chat. Says, hey, Quita, I was expecting UConn to win, but not like this. I'm afraid for my Notre Dame tomorrow. I mean, Notre Dame, yeah, they're currently the best basketball team right now, right? Of course, the reigning champs is still ultimately number one because they're the reigning champs. But yeah, Notre Dame is clicking on all cylinders. Notre Dame's fantastic. Man, wow. Guys, as I always say, anybody and everybody will get got. We are heading closer and closer to March, which means that all will be exposed. And today, it was exposure time for South Carolina. The exposure is that they don't have a big, dominant big. They have Joyce Edwards, who is a fantastic power forward. Fantastic. But they need Ashlyn Watkins. But Ashlyn Watkins is out. She's hurt. She's gone for the rest of the year. And Joyce Edwards cannot do it all by herself, especially if she doesn't start. Like at some point, you're going to have to make the decision, Don Staley, to have Joyce Edwards start and put Chloe Kitts on the bench. Like you're going to have to come to that because your best player is coming off the bench. Yeah, she's playing starter minutes, but like at the same time, you need that spark early. You need it. Exposure on that front. Exposure on your guard's inability to score. Besides Tahina, your guards can't do anything. Raven Johnson once again does nothing on in terms of scoring on the offensive end. Nothing, right? Goose egg. You can't have that. You cannot win games like this when your starting point guard scores nothing in the game. And usually Raven Johnson is a fantastic defensive player. Today, defense wasn't all that. All will be exposed. Tahina Pow. Yes, that's your best shooter on the team. But Tahina, you need to make your shots, right? You got to make your shots. You know, you got Mylasia Fulwiley, and Mylasia had a really good second half, I would say. Especially, I thought she started to play a whole lot better when the game was basically over, right? She ends up with 11 points. But Mylasia's issue is you got to stay out of foul trouble. Stay out of foul trouble, girl. Stay on the court because when you are on the court, you give South Carolina an opportunity for fast break points. You give them an opportunity for making stuff happen on both the offensive and defensive end, right? This South Carolina team is nowhere near as good as they were last year. Everybody knows that. But as games like this happen, it exposes it a whole lot more. This is a team that is very good. Their inability of their guards outside of Tahina Pow to actually score is ridiculous. Their lack of post play outside of Joyce Edwards is ridiculous. Their inability to stay out of foul trouble and their inability to play defense is ridiculous. Something is wrong. Something is going on with Tessa Johnson. Tessa Johnson is a fantastic player, but she hasn't been playing up to how good we all know she is. Tessa Johnson's a walking bucket. But just because you have that talent, if you don't show up and if you don't make stuff happen, then it's kind of over for you, you know? Tessa Johnson shoots 4 threes today, misses all 4. Struggle bus. The last several games, Tessa has been struggle busing. Got to play better. And once again, a team gets got. This time, South Carolina. Because, y'all, all will be exposed. South Carolina lose to UConn. The final score of this game is UConn 87, South Carolina 58. South Carolina ends up losing their awesome streak. This is a team that won 71 straight home games. It is gone today. Wow. And yeah, man. UConn does it again. This is their first loss for South Carolina at home in the last four years. First loss in the last 4 years. Crazy streak, but all streaks have to end eventually, and today was the time for that. Guys, what do y'all think about this game? Let me know in the chat. I think this is it for me. I'm going to stop this so I can go watch the LSU. We got LSU playing right now. And so LSU versus Texas, we'll ultimately see how that game ends up going on. But yeah, I will see y'all in the next one. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. If y'all could, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.